Hello, what is it? Gals and germs and gals or whatever, ladies and germs. Um, my viewership. Okay, I've been using Udio, which everybody knows as the AI music generator, for 2 weeks now, and I have a accrued about 50 songs. And about half of those, actually my favorite thing to do is to see if I can get a particular musician and even to replicate their style. The udio guys, according to one of their um, Discord moderators, in the first 10 days had eliminated the request of the artist, which I think is all they did. I don't think they really kept people from getting at the musicians because it's still in the model. There is it there is a very big potential that the music industry will be able to slap them with a lawsuit. And how it would be done is if the music industry got the producers on the albums like Todd Rundgren or David Foster. Those guys have a trained ear and they can detect the styles of music. Even Todd Rundgren has a likely copyrighted style of chord progressions that only he makes. Nobody else makes this chording, does this chording that he does. And you can detect when you've got a Todd Rundgren song or a Todd Rundgren produced song just by listening to it. An example of that is if you get uh, a few songs from the album that the song I'm an Adult Now by um, uh, the the Pursuit of Happiness. It was a Canadian band back in the 90s or 80s or something. And it was 90s, early 90s. And they came out with this song, I'm an Adult Now. That doesn't have any Todd Rundgren in it. But in the other songs that they had to fill the album out with, um, there is a number of them that sound like Todd Rundgren songs because of the chording. I've taken some of my Udio tunes and put them on Facebook, and Warner Brothers actually detected one of the songs as being one of theirs, and it forced Facebook to 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 cover up the audio. And so, I mean, to lock the audio so that it wouldn't play the audio. And I was just like, how is it doing that? And the only thing I could imagine is that the model that they trained on copyrighted music, which is certainly what happened, because I'm noticing way too many musicians in the model. I'm able to get lots of them. But um, they, anyhow, I lost my thread of thought there, but I've been able to. These are the musicians that I've been able to emulate with Udio. Kenny Loggins style of music, Christopher Cross style of music, Christopher Cross's voice, Eric Clapton's guitar playing, Bob Seger's way of singing and the raspiness in his voice. Um, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Philip Bailey's style of singing, Rick James type style of music production. Um, uh, what's his name? The guy that does Osborne, Jeffrey Osborne. I got Jeffrey Osborne. Um, the Doobies. I got the Doobies. I was playing all day yesterday with Crosby, Stills, and Nash's um, characteristic harmonies but I could never get udio to produce good music on top of that. It was really good at producing their harmonies, but it just didn't get how um, they made their songs. And so I couldn't get something out of it like Our House or Wasted on the Way or anything like that. But I got their harmonies that they had with things like what is that song about Woodstock? We are Star Child. We are taking them back to the garden. I was getting harmonies out that were like in that song, which are characteristics CSN stuff. I got one seed. That's what I call the initial 30-second thing. That's what they do whenever they generate a song. They generate a seed, and udio fills it in with lyrics, which makes it practically unusable because you can't get the lyrics off the seed so that you can fill it in with lyrics you prefer. I end up telling Gemini, take those lyrics that are already in there and generate me lyrics that match those so that they sound like a part of the song. That's how I'm able to get songs that sound like specific musicians, is because I'm I'm finding the seeds and then I'm just extending them with lyrics that Gemini generates based upon the artist. The reason why Gemini knows the artist is because it's been trained on the text from critics that have um, been able to categorize the musicians by genre. And so it knows how to tell you anything about any song because it's already read every single critic's explanation and what people have said on Reddit about any song uh, to be able to characterize that song. I can tell Gemini, I want this song. I want it to be described um, in detail. Give me the orchestration. See if you can give all this information such that an AI, a music generator, can understand. And those AIs understand each other because they're trained with statistics. And so, I mean, if they get trained to um, to statistically represent something, they can communicate to each other using keywords that will identify the highly statistical thing that they're talking about. So they just are already on the level of each other enough that one can give um, like 30 tokens to another and the other one knows exactly what it's talking about. So those sort of things they can't really filter out, and the AI developers don't understand enough about how these models conceptualize things. So there really is no way they can prevent a model from getting the clue and then generating the content unless they have another AI model that's able to recognize the content and prevent that model from generating out any output. They do that with whenever you try to produce naked images, but you can get past that with AI image generators. You can get past their moderation by doing things like, even though it doesn't permit naked images, you can say body painting, and it will still give you uh, give you nudity, and it will just paint over it with body paint. And their nudity um, recognition stuff won't work on body paint because it sees what it thinks is clothes. And so there are ways of getting around anything with AI. And it's because of that issue that it's going to make it very difficult for any AI company to incorporate anything that's copyrighted material or material that is sensitive. they're all going to be vulnerable to it. And so they have to be prepared with enough lawyers to deal with that. There's going to be a lot of martyrs on the way to any kind of utopia of whatever these guys think they're getting to. There's going to be a lot of martyrs. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to get taken down with lawsuits and are going to end up in jail or paying back debts they can't pay back. It's going to be yet another .com bubble before it ever gets to a point to where they just are not going to be, they're going to be safe, you know. So what I'm doing on Udio more than anything is trying to match. It's because I find it fun. I do the same thing with AI image generation. I try to see how close I can get to a celebrity, and how close I can get to things that you shouldn't be able to do, so that I can learn how to get around that stuff. And because that's what hackers do. They spend all their time trying to figure out how to get past the moderation, and you know, it's a prize in the mind. And I get dopamine hits whenever I've succeeded in doing something with AI that shouldn't be possible. And so I do that with music generators. I do that with image generators. I haven't started working on video generation because it doesn't interest me that much. I do it with text generation. And the drive isn't to permit companies to sue these guys and succeed. My drive is to help the ones that are generating the AI to understand just how liable they could be by putting these things out there. That just putting it out, like Google would put something out, is not going to protect them from the potential of getting sued. I could get sued for creating that stuff, but I would just point them out that it wasn't me. It was the engine that generated it. And all I was doing was just using my ear. And you know how good my ear is that I can reproduce the style of singing of a particular artist. And that's kind of what people are more amazed by me whenever I sing, is that I can sing like certain artists. And it isn't that I try to sing like certain artists, it's just the way I remember the tune. And so I'm just really trying to mimic the tunes that I sing. And it also happens in my udio stuff. I'm creating tunes in udio where I don't even know who the artist is, but I swear I've heard it before, and I swear I've heard the tune before. That's happening. And it's like, you know, this tune must exist, or something like this must exist already. And it's like I've heard the tune before, and I'm just like, this is just really odd. This is just really spooky or whatever. Last night, I created a tune that was 7 minutes long in the style of Glenn Frey. And when you listen to it, you can tell it's his singing. And I have it singing in different ways throughout the tune, and it's still nailing Glenn Frey. I didn't even want Glenn Frey specifically, even though my prompt included the Eagles as part of the description of what I wanted. It was getting me CSN. It was getting me, that's what happens. If you go for the Eagles, you're going to get Crosby, Still, Nash. And you might even get other musicians. There's cases where I've asked for, what was it? I asked for Stuart Copeland drums, and I added ska, and I got Joe Jackson, Joe Strummer, and Phil Oakley, all in one voice. And Phil Oakley is the lead singer of the Human League. Joe Jackson is a popular songwriter. The guy, what he's known mostly for is the song "Stepping Out." You know, do 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 do. We are down to down 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 for our time. When any do 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 do. Before that, he was a punk artist. He came out with an album called "Look Sharp," and I memorized a tune from that, which was "Doon Doon 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 Doon." Pretty women out walking with gorillas down my street. I wash my hair and I kid myself, I look really smooth. Look over there where there is a genie with her new boyfriend. She looks, they say their looks don't count for so much. If so, there goes their approve. Is she really going out with him? Is she really gonna take him home tonight? Is she really going out with him? 'Cause if my eyes don't deceive me, there's something going wrong around here. And he also did do 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 do. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Always something breaking us into. They say the run to jump and down, down. And you better look sharp. And you better have not illusions, such on looking over your shoulder. And you can read it in the Sunday papers. Don't Sunday papers don't tell no news. The Sunday papers don't eyes. Sunday papers don't. So if you listen to that album, you'll hear Joe Jackson. Joe Strummer is I don't know if he sings or if it's somebody else in the Clash that sings, but he is the recognizable guy, you know. Boogie College running up the field, it's river rats around the grill, and you know the Clash. I don't think that's Joe Strummer. I'm not 100% sure. He was also in Big Audio Dynamite. And he just has a very easy to recognize style of voice. And then Phil Oakley has a very easy to recognize style of stable idle singing. No 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 no. Don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me, oh? And live in electric dreams, I will turn the sun in your face. So he has a very detectable voice. And I got all three of these together in a ska song with a drummer that's playing similar licks to Stuart Copeland. And I mean, if you listen to the Police, Stuart's got a certain style of playing, which is from ska, from reggae, from the punk. So do 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 chuck 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 chuck. You know, he does these kind of click 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 click. You know, it's a certain kind of playing which comes from ska. And you can detect it's a Police song whenever you hear his playing. But that's the thing, is that they have no way of getting an AI to recognize the little nuances of those songs. And if the AI company, if the record companies come in to present a lawsuit, they're going to bring their studio producers with them. And those guys are the guys to be scared of, because those guys understand the nuances of the production. They understand the nuances of what they told certain musicians to do and not to do whenever they were making. So they understand how to recognize certain musicians in a song. And that's the danger. Those guys are the dangerous ones. And all the record company has to do is bring up their producers, and it's curtains for the AI company. And what they're going to try to take is everything you've got. I mean, they're going to get the lawyers to suck the marrow out of the AI companies, which is possibly okay, because some of those guys, if they're stupid enough to do this, probably don't belong in the AI community. Because it seems like to me some of the guys are not really scientists, AI scientists. What they are, they're copycats. They're using the same stuff that's already been developed about, like diffusion. Diffusion's being used in everything. I was just seeing on YouTube that diffusion is being used in recognizing proteins and being able to map out proteins. They're using the diffusion method. They're using it with audio. They're using it with images. They're using it with video. However, the video that the story diffusion stuff that came out of China, that some YouTuber claimed that it only took them 8 A100s to train their model, whereas he claimed that Sora took 10,000 of those. What they're doing is they're generating the keyframes of the video animation. That's the reason why this guy talked about them using their system to generate frames for cartoons, which was the alternate use of story diffusion. But you could use it to generate video. All they're doing is generating the tweens for the video, and they pick key shots where they want to maintain the continuity in the shape of the stuff that's in the frame. I don't know if it really understands physics as they claim, but it's possible. But if they're using tweening, that's basically what MPEG is. It has iframes, which are full frame copies from the original source. Then it has PB frames, P and B, which determine how to obtain the interframes, the tweens, from the captured eye shots. And if you've ever saw an MPEG video screw up, you'll notice that it seems to paint the details. It tends to move. It'll take the color from some frame and accidentally move it with the characters. It's like it's pushing oil paint around. And that's your motion vectors. It generates the motion vectors and it uses them to determine how the color moves around on the screen. And so it just moves it from one place to another using these vectors. And by doing that, it only has to store the vector motion. They don't have to store the pixel motion. And so the idea is to match the original frames by pushing the paint around and matching it to the original content. That's what it ends up doing. And that's pretty much all they're doing with the story diffusion, is they're doing something like MPEG, but they're trying to generate accurate images of the content in the frame. And it's possible that they have a way of determining what are good frames to copy from the source material when picking their interframes, their iframes, which are direct copies. Anyhow, it's just a matter of time before you're able to do everything. But then what's going to come with that is that the industries that it's affecting are going to start making AI to detect when you're using AI, and it may get to a point to where it just is impossible to use AI for anything without being detected. So you would just be making a lot of this content um, for your own satisfaction. You wouldn't be able to commercially put it out because somebody would be able to detect it. So these are kind of the golden days, the golden salad days of AI, where there's no oversight or not any really good oversight, but it's going to change. It's going to get locked down, and it'll be practically impossible for companies like Udio to remove, um, to make it hard for them to be litigated against. It's going to get difficult. And it's just a matter of the lawyers figuring things out. That's all they need to do. And they also can use AI. And because they can also use AI, they can gain the intelligence and the ability to outperform other companies that are people that are using AI for near criminal intent type stuff. Udio is trying to err on the side of, well, our content was trained on MP3s, so the sound quality isn't up to par. All they need to do is train it on CDs, and that fixes that problem. Um, but they're proving the point that AI can do whatever you want it to with music. And now that that's known, it's going to really make it hard to put the cat back in the bag, because now anybody can pretty much make music. Um, it may lead to a case where people will find their entertainment in either the performance of the music or in the performance inspired by the music. So you would have dancers and you would have performers acting like they're singing. Basically, everybody becomes Milli Vanilli. And then it doesn't really matter if you're Milli Vanilli or not. The musicians are not going to be as valuable to the picture as the AI will be. And that will cause the musicians to find something else to do, or to get involved in the creation of the music that the AI can make. Because I've already made 50 songs in 2 weeks, and they all sound professional. I could put them into any sampler, and it would cause some boomers to scratch their heads and say, I don't remember ever hearing this. But it will be good enough, they won't be able to recognize that it's AI. And that's really what I'm shooting for, is to try to create styles of music and basically to give all the one-hit wonders more than one hit.